What are you taking this semester? Taking statics, okay. Oh, we're on? Oh, hey. Good morning. Welcome to Engineering 101. We're coming through the internet to you, and I've got a group here. I know there's a group sitting at Maple Woods and a group at Longview. I've heard there are some sound issues at Longview. Hopefully those will be resolved in the next few seconds. Welcome, come on in, sign the sign-in sheet. Everyone should have a sign-in sheet at your location, Maple Woods, Penn Valley, Longview. You'll want to make sure you sign that every week so you get the attendance points. And for those of you watching this by internet only after the fact, you'll earn those points other ways, but for those of you who actually attend class, you want to make sure you sign into the sign-in sheet. This is a team-taught course. Engineering 101 is taught by myself and Mrs. Nicole Flum. We are very excited to be teaching this class, and we love working with the engineering students, as do the chemistry and math and physics faculty. We're very excited about the engineering program. Also the staff, the administration of the Metropolitan Community College, they really like working with the engineering students. They very much are pleased to have this program. They're very proud of this program. Anyway, I'll get started. Let's go ahead and start with the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, go ahead and go to the next one, please. This is a quick outline of what we're going to do today. I'm going to go over the goals of the course. Hopefully the people in the local audience will have some questions. I did send out my cell phone number. I've got my cell phone in my pocket here. I'll pause for a moment at some point today and see if I've got any text questions that were sent in to me from Maple Woods or Longview. Please duck if you're, by the way, if you're going to. If you're wanting to text me, I send out the cell phone number by email. I won't announce it because we're also on cable TV right now, but you can text me with questions if you like. The other things we're going to talk about, I want to cover the engineering program at MCC. I know not everybody's an engineering student, but this class focuses on engineering. We do talk a little bit about some of the other, the technology degrees a little bit. There are some options for that, but the main thing is the engineering program. That's what I specialize in. That's what Mrs. Flum specializes in. So that's kind of the focus of this course. I'll quickly go over the course details. Hopefully some of you have had a chance to read over that document I mailed to your home. So I'm not going to go over it in detail. I'm trusting that you've already read it or you will read it while we're talking right now. But I will hope to have some questions either by text message or from you local students that are watching here. And I'll say a few things about the website details. Okay, let's go on. There's our email addresses. The best way to get a hold of us is through email. I know I personally check my email a lot. I teach besides this course, I teach engineering statistics as a 100% online course. So I check my email quite frequently. That's the tool I use. Some of you may have used Blackboard before, and you've learned to use the Blackboard messaging system. That's an internal message system. And I personally don't check that very much. For this class, we've relabeled that resubmit reports. It's not. I don't want you to use the Blackboard messaging system to contact your instructors for this class. If you want to contact your instructors about something about your grade or some question you have that you don't think should be on the discussion board, then please use one of those email addresses. In addition, there's a way to contact us by email through the Blackboard site. There's an Ask Questions button in the Blackboard site. That Ask Questions button will allow you to choose either Ms. Flum or I to send an email to one of us. And it'll also go to that email address. The tech line is listed there for if you're having problems with the Blackboard site or some kind of technical issue. I can help you some with technical issues. I know some of the answers. You can post those questions to the discussion board, but it may be that your question is sufficiently difficult that you're going to have to contact those people. Another question that might go to there is problems logging in. I can't help you with login problems. That's something that would go through the tech line or the distance education line. That's another possibility. There is a phone in the studio right next to me. That's another way to contact us. I don't give that out on the air, but it's if you call that 4490 number, that's a way to get a hold of the studio, and then therefore to me. All right, and if you do call in, I guess there wouldn't be. Yeah, we're ready to go on. We don't need to mention that. I guess we won't be broadcasting voices over the air. Victor, can we go on to the next one? Thank you. So the goals of the course. I hope you'll learn about engineering. Number one, learn about the receiving schools. Learn about places we send engineering students. That's an option here. I hope you'll do some research. If you think you're going to transfer to Rolla in a couple years, you really ought to read their catalog. You ought to maybe go visit Rolla, at least email some people at Rolla. You can do that as part of the research for this research paper in this class. Speak with working engineers. I hope you'll hear some live here in this room presenting, and also we hope that you'll go out and interview at least one engineer as part of the research paper. And there's a fair amount of writing in this class. There's not enough writing in most engineering classes. This is one small place where we ask you to do some writing. I know not every engineer likes to do writing, but it's something that every professional needs to do, and so that's why it's part of the course. Now, I did say learn about engineering. I realize some of you are majoring in drafting or one of our technology degrees. That's perfectly fine. You can focus more on that. It's a pretty unusual course. I think when you went through the instructions, you might have been a little overwhelmed by some of the options you have. We've tried to let this course evolve in a direction that allows you some flexibility. I want you to come away with this class with a better career plan. Wherever you're at, however much you know about your career and where you're going, I want you to improve on that. There's always room for improvement. You might have a vague idea of what you're going to do. You make it less vague. Find out some of those facts. Make sure you know what's available. And that's really the goal of this course. All right, so let's go on. Victor? Oh, yeah, that's it. Learning about engineering. The first question some of you maybe are asking is this what I want to do? Engineering or not? I hope you'll all say engineering, yes, or engineering technology, yes. There's a great diversity of job types, a lot of options for people in engineering. I feel like there's almost as many different engineering jobs as there are engineers. It's a profession. As a professional, you have the ability to mold your job in a direction that suits your strengths and interests. Engineers have a lot of, they're in a professional work environment. They're treated like professionals. Any job's going to involve things you'd rather not be doing at that moment, but for the most part, engineering offers great flexibility. It's a very rewarding, interesting job, lots of options. So I hope all of you will leave this course thinking, yes, engineering, but I realize some of you may choose to go another direction, and that is part of the focus of this course. Assuming that you're locked into engineering or you're sure you're going to do that, you still need to decide what discipline. Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, civil engineering, there's many, actually a very large set of options there, lots of different disciplines of engineering, and so there's a starting point. And even if you already know what discipline you want to do, there's a lot of variations within each discipline. You go into electrical engineering, that's fine. A lot of electrical engineers are starting to head in the power direction now. It used to be when I was in school, no electrical engineer ever wanted to go into power. That's boring. That's solved. There's nothing new in power. All right? So nobody went in that direction. But it's getting a lot more interesting now. More electrical engineers are going into power. But that's just one option within electrical engineering. They go into semiconductors. They go into computers. There's just quite a few choices in engineering, in a specific discipline of engineering. Same with mechanical, same with civil. Great set of options within each discipline. So even if you're sure what type of engineer you want to be, you have a lot of room for honing that decision. Beyond that, what type of organization would you want to be in? Do you want to work for the government, like the city, the water services? That's a possible civil engineering job, doing water services for the government. But you could do water services and work for a consulting firm. You could work for the military. You could work in education. Hopefully not, but that's an option, right? Education's great. The fact is, you have a lot of choices of, even within a discipline and a type of job within that discipline, you still have a lot of different choices with the type of organization you want to go work for. And it really helps to have a plan. The more of a plan you have, the more you can start doing things that enable that plan. And if you don't know what you're planning to do and you just kind of float through school, then when it comes time to interview, you're not going to know which companies to interview. You're just going to be casting around for some job that comes your way. And you might not end up satisfied. You might not be able to impress the interviewers if you don't have some plan, right? If you've had your plan and you've gained the knowledge you need, maybe snagged a little experience here that's relevant, that's going to help you when you interview and help you get to where you want to be. So that's the goal here. And you know, this is your life. This is something you're trying to make a career out of this. So you want to have a plan, and you want to do more than just take a bunch of classes. You want to go beyond that. So that's what this class is supposed to help you with. Okay, Victor. So then another aspect of the course, learning about the receiving schools. We have, for engineering, we work with 5 nearby universities. These are the 5 ABET accredited schools that you can get an engineering degree at. If you want to become a professional engineer, then you have to do one of these schools. I was informed recently that Rolla has started an extension program at Southwest Missouri State. It's still a Rolla program, but so there's another option. It's a Rolla degree, but it's not in Rolla, Missouri. So there's that other option that I didn't list here. But we work closely with the first 2, very closely. University of Missouri Kansas City has an engineering program. It's pretty small, but it's tightly integrated with the community. A lot of a lot of people that are working in the engineering field go to UMKC, get their degree, but actually they're starting to have a lot more traditional students now too. So they're a small but growing program at UMKC. I'm a Rolla grad. Miss Flum is a Rolla grad. That's a very well-known, respected school nationwide. They do great things. I love to see students go down to Rolla, and we work very closely with them. Every year we go down there. We make sure that our classes align as closely as possible with their classes, so that when our students go down there for their junior and senior year, they're ready. So those are the 2 we work most closely with, but we send quite a few students to Mizzou. Mizzou has a lot of attractive features that engineering students are interested in. So they have some programs that Rolla doesn't have, so some of our students definitely go to Mizzou. For those who have Kansas residency or can get it, or just really like KU or K-State, there's excellent programs there. We send students that way also. We're not as closely linked to them, but we definitely send them students, and all 5 of those institutions are happy with the transfer concept. You might think, oh, engineering is big and scary, it's too tough for a community college to handle. That's nonsense. This stuff is calculus, physics, basic engineering. It's stuff that we really know what we're teaching. We understand it very well. We've got everybody all the instructors have masters and or higher in their disciplines, and we're really experts at teaching that freshman and sophomore stuff. The universities are happy about that because that allows the faculty to focus on their research interests. If they want to do something at the undergraduate level, they're going to do it at the junior and senior level if they can, because that's at least close to what they do for their research. A lot of professors have to focus on grad school, but with the community college students coming in, it's a good deal. It's a win-win for the universities and for you all, because it's a good way to get started into engineering. So I'm going to see if there's questions here, and I also have had 2 texts, so let me see what I have for texts. Just a second. Any questions here? No? Well, let me try this again. I'm not so good with my my phone. Can you transfer credits to Mizzou? So yeah, I guess we just answered that. Yes, you can definitely transfer credits to Mizzou. We used to work very closely with Mizzou, Missouri State University. Sorry, MSU. Help me out. Missouri State University? That's Mizzou? Okay, thank you. The new name. All these names are starting to, I'm getting to be old, all these names are starting to get confused in my mind. Yeah, we used to have a very tight relationship, but Mizzou, they sort of, they don't reach out as much as they used to the schools like us. They still encourage students to transfer. They still work with the transfer students. We send students there every year, and there's no problems, but we're just not as well oiled when it comes to transferring to Mizzou. All right, Victor, let's go to the next one. The idea with this television concept, I think I've already said, you can text into me if you're watching from Longview or Maple Woods. Here, I hope you'll have a lot of questions. There is a delay time, but it's supposed to be interactive. I want to do everything we can to make it interactive, so please ask questions. That's usually the best part. If the engineer is really talkative and doesn't give you any time for questions, or if you think of questions later or whatever, most of these engineers that come in leave contact information. They don't mind being contacted outside of class. They're happy to do it. I've had guest engineers meet with students for interviews later or whatever. So, or at least by phone, by email. I mean, email's nothing, right? You could email a person some questions. You're not really taking any of their time. And I want you to understand that most engineers, working engineers, are delighted to talk to students. They want, when I first came on board to teach this class, I was pretty intimidated because I thought, wow, how am I going to convince people to come spend a couple hours of their time and talk to a bunch of engineering students? And I was amazed when I started calling people that I didn't even know and asking them to come talk to my class. 90% of them said yes right off. I mean, these engineers, they love to share their experiences with you. And so when it comes to talking with engineers, keep that in mind. Throughout the next 4 years, keep that in mind, that engineers that are working are usually very happy to reach back and give information to engineering students, give them tips, give them advice. So take advantage of that goodwill, because most of them are that way. Now, there's probably a few jerks out there. I've run into a couple over the years, but mostly the engineering students the engineers are happy to talk to engineering students. So please keep that in mind. And others are just busy. You got to respect that. Engineers often are very busy. If they're too busy, talk to them another week, another month. But most engineers, if they can, they're going to come talk to you. So keep that in mind. And they're happy to come here. I don't really have a whole lot of trouble finding speakers, but if you know someone you think would be an excellent speaker, please let Ms. Flum or myself know, and we'll see if we can get them in. If not this year, then a future year. All right, so as far as the engineers that I bring in, you're going to find out why they chose engineering. You'll find out what school was like for them. You're going to find out maybe they'll have some tips for how to succeed in engineering or how to succeed in engineering school. Typically, I ask them to brag. Don't be put off by them. I'm telling them to do this. In my opinion, you want to hear the good things they did. Right? You want to hear what they did right. And so when I bring in engineers, I'm going to ask them to do that. They might say some of the things they did wrong and wish they'd done better. That's totally up to them. But also you want to hear what they did well. So engineering is a great degree. I hope you'll come away getting some positive vibes from these people that come see us. Okay, Victor. So as far as the writing thing, I know some of you have no trouble at all with the writing aspects of this course. It's really easy for you, basically free points as far as you're concerned. Others, I know, just can't stand it. If you can't stand writing, you got to get over it. I mean, there's not a lot of places in the engineering degree where you're asked to do a lot of writing. This is one where there's some writing. I do promise you that this is a 1-hour course. It takes less work than a typical sophomore course. It takes less than a third of the work of, say, statics or thermodynamics. Those are 3-hour courses or 4-hour courses. You divide that by 3 or 4, and that's a certain amount of work that's more than what this class is, unless you just totally can't stand to write. If you can't stand to write, it might feel like pulling teeth. I just want you to understand that we are not going to nitpick your writing. We're not going to harass you a lot about your writing. It's just something you've got to get used to doing. The more you do it, the easier it gets, the faster you get. It's got to become natural. If you're going to be a professional, if you're going to work in the engineering environment, you have to document things. You have to communicate by email. There's a lot of communication requirements through the written word. You just need to start getting into that habit. And so I've seen that as far as the difficulty level of this class, it varies greatly depending on your writing ability. We will try to give some kind of feedback on your writing when we grade your work. Typically, I know when I grade the work, I'm looking for 1 or 2 little things I can give comments on. Comments will show up in the grade book. If you hover your mouse over the grade or click on the grade, it'll show you the instructor comments on your writing. And typically what I would be looking to do is maybe 1 little suggestion, 1 little thing you could improve. I'm always trying to give some sort of constructive criticism. I'm not trying, your goal really shouldn't be to get no feedback. Your goal is to get feedback, right? So I'm trying to find something I can do. That's doing my job, is to give you some kind of feedback on your writing. Some of you are probably better writers than I am, but I've been writing quite a long time, so I usually have something to offer. Even the really good writers, I usually have some kind of suggestion that can help improve their writing. So just keep that in mind. Our job is to give you some feedback on your writing to help you improve that a little bit. And of course, to read what you're doing. This writing you're doing should involve your career plan in some way. Something about yourself, something what you're planning to do. One of the reasons I got into teaching was because I really enjoyed giving advice to students, helping them plan their career a little bit. I found that office hour time, even though I was teaching very technical classes, one of the things I found was most enjoyable was when the student would say, oh, I'm not quite sure what class I should take next semester, or I'm not sure if I should transfer to MIT or wherever. You know, they're offering, they have these various plans. They don't know what they want to do, and it's kind of nice to be able to hear that and give some advice. So I especially enjoy helping the transfer process and giving students ideas with their career plans, and that's kind of what's supposed to be coming out in this writing also. The writing specialists say the more you write, the better you get. A lot of little writing is better than one great big term paper. Now, we do have a research paper, and it's just not a great big paper. We have a bunch of small writing, which we call short reports. Also, the discussion board is a place you write. So a lot of places do a little writing here and there, and that is that's the place where you get that frequent writing. All right, any questions here? Okay, checking the text again. Will the students at Maple Woods even ever meet me? Yeah, I meant to say that. The idea with that is that Mrs. Flum and I will be kind of alternating around. The 2 of us teach on all 3 locations. We're considered district-wide faculty members, which means we spread ourselves among Longview, Maple Woods, and Penn Valley. That's the 3 places where the engineering program is taught, the ENGR courses. And so we move around, and our plan is to, for this particular course, to kind of alternate with one of us being at either Longview or Maple Woods. And someone will always have to be here. One of us will be here at Penn Valley where we're broadcasting from, and then the other person will alternate between Longview and Maple Woods as much as possible. So yes, we'll be at Maple Woods some of the time. Also, I teach thermodynamics next semester at Maple Woods. Nicole is teaching 2 classes at Maple Woods this semester, so we're at Maple Woods for class teaching. Just this class happens to be a distance class. So, okay, Victor. As far as the engineering program, the idea is that you'd spend 2 or 3 years here. We hope you'll do our whole program. The whole program involves Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Calculus 3, differential equations. And then there's a statistics class. It's kind of a math/engineering class. Then there's physics, chemistry. We've got the 2 engineering physics classes that I think every engineering major takes the 2 engineering physics classes. And then we have some of the basic engineering courses. Not every discipline of engineering takes all these. We offer, almost everybody takes statics. That's a core course. But then we offer thermodynamics, circuit theory 1, strength of materials, or sometimes called mechanics materials, dynamics. I think I got them all. Some of the chemical engineers take organic chemistry. It really depends on your discipline. So at some point you're going to have to decide what discipline you're in, what your specific university and discipline are. That way you can pick which of those courses you need. We've tried to make the associate's degree as open as we can so you can earn the associate's degree while hopefully only taking courses that apply towards your bachelor's degree. That's our plan. And if you can come to me and say, hey, I'm going to Georgia Tech, or I'm going to KU, or whatever, this is their plan, but this class that I need that you offer is not in the associate's degree, but KU needs it. I want to take this class, but I want to get the associate's degree also. We'll figure out a way to get you the associate's degree. We can adjust the associate's degree if you can show me that an accredited engineering program needs that class. We'll make a substitute. I hope that makes sense. But our goal is to get you the associate's degree while not slowing you down in your bachelor's degree. So that's the point. Now, all of our credit transfers, but my goal and the advisor's goal throughout the district is to make sure you're not just taking classes that transfer. That's not that big of a deal. You want classes that transfer and actually knock off a degree requirement for your bachelor's degree, and that's where it gets a little trickier. The Associates of Engineering is a great guideline, but you want to make sure you are careful so you don't waste any time. You don't want to waste even one class if you can help it. Yes?
Is it necessary to get your Associates in Engineering before transferring?
The question is, do you need to get your associates before transferring? And no. We work, especially with UMKC and Rolla, we work so closely with them that they don't even notice if you have the associate's degree. For them, it's just credit by credit. Our classes just roll right into their classes. Now, that's pretty much true of those other 3 universities I mentioned. But if you go far away from the Midwest, the farther away you go, the more the associate's degree might have a kick. Because if you go to the East Coast or the West Coast, some university there, they don't offer engineering exactly the same way we do. And their math classes might be set up differently or whatever. But if you've got that whole associate of engineering, then they're a lot more likely to waive some of those freshman and sophomore courses and not make you go back and take them. So there's where the associate's degree is kind of nice. Now, if we like to see people get the associate's degree, there is some nice aspects of having that on your resume. If you do transfer before you get it, but you do want the associate's degree, you can back transfer credit. Let's say you're only 1 course short of the associate's degree when you transfer. You could back transfer that 1 class, and that would get you the associate's degree. So you could do it while you're at the university. As far as UMKC goes, we actually have a lot of students that just are half and half. Their last semester with us is also their first semester at UMKC because it's just the way it worked out. We have a lot of part-time students who just maybe they had to repeat a course or something came up in their life. Students that get to the point where they only have maybe 9 hours of credit with us, so maybe they'll take another 6 hours at UMKC, something like that. That's pretty common. And I know I've been talking a lot specifically about engineering. For those of you who are doing one of the engineering technology degrees, I'm totally willing to do the research or point you to the right people so you can do that same kind of information gathering. If you're planning to go to CMSU for their mechanical engineering technology degree, or you're planning to go to Mo West for construction management, or anything like that, those are not ABET accredited engineering degrees, but there's a very important role that technologists play, and if that's the goal for you, if that's your goal, then I want you to use this class to further that goal. Don't feel like you have to don't feel like you got that you're wasting your time just learning about engineering. There is value in just, if you're going to be in the engineering workplace, I think this class has some value even if you're not an engineer, but I want this to be a careers course for you also. So anything I say about engineering, that's my specialty. You can transfer that to engineering technology if that's your major. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, so when I say, there's one thing I got to mention here though. Some people sometimes get a a misunderstanding. Engineering is a very rigorous, demanding curriculum. It's pretty well locked to be around 15 to 16 to 17 hours per semester, somewhere in there, where you don't have a whole lot of choices on the classes you take. And Calculus 1 is a first semester freshman course. From Calculus 1, you're looking at 4 years if you always take between 15 and 17 hours per semester. So it's pretty easy to do the division. If you're only taking 12 hours per semester, you're still a full-time student as far as financial aid is concerned, but you're not on a 4-year plan. You're on a 5-year plan at least. That's not unusual. A lot of engineers take 5 years. It's part of the deal. Universities have started to lower the hours a little bit, but the fact is if you're only taking 12 hours to 14 hours, it's going to take you longer. If you're not ready for Calculus 1 your first semester, it's probably going to take you longer. If you're not ready for Calculus 1, you need to take math every semester until you get started on your calculus. Because if you don't get into that math pretty fast and get started on it, you're going to run out of courses to take. So one thing I can tell you right now is if you're an engineering student and you're not in a math class and you haven't done all your differential equations and everything yet, you need to be in a math class and immediately get your schedule changed and get yourself into a math class if you're an engineering student that hasn't already finished math. Because that's the first thing that you've got to get knocked off if you want to get done in a reasonable amount of time. I had another question, so. What if you're not enrolled in a calculus class? Well, that's interesting that question came up. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. You need to take math every semester. If you're let's say you're in college algebra right now. That's actually a thing I need to say also. Let's say you're an engineering student, but you're right now taking college algebra. You really seriously need to switch to pre-calc if you can. Math 120 is a great course. The math teachers will sometimes put you into math. The math placement will put you into Math 120. If you think you can handle pre-calculus, you could take Math 150 instead. Math 150 is calculus. I mean, it'll get you into calculus. It counts as college algebra and trig all in one semester. It's 5 hours instead of 3, but you get your college algebra and your trig all in one semester. So take pre-calculus if you can. That way you can get right into calculus next semester. If you take college algebra but don't take trig, well, then you have to take trig the next semester and then take calculus. You lose a semester if you're not ready for, if you don't go into pre-calculus right now. So keep that in mind. If you can get into a pre-calculus course, if there's still time, I don't know if there's still time, but you might take a look at that if you're just taking college algebra. And those of you who are taking Math 110 right now, next semester you need to take pre-calculus, Math 150. Don't take college algebra only. Go from Math 110 into Math 150. That way you can take Calc 1 next summer, Math 180, and you didn't lose as much time. If you dawdle in the math, if you don't hurry through the math and really focus on it, then you quickly run out of courses to take because almost everything in the engineering degree indirectly relates back to Calculus 1. And you really just can't get started until that. So I'm not trying to scare anyone off about math, by the way. Math is not what engineers do all the time. They have to become math competent. They have to be decent at math. All right? And it's a prerequisite structure. It's very rigidly defined. You just got to get that math out of the way right up front so you can get into the good stuff. So, all right, Victor. Let me check something here too.
When you refer to the math, are you referring to it as a 2-year picture, or are you speaking about knocking it out to a 4-year picture? When you're saying get into these classes now, are we looking?
You have to get done with differential equations in your sophomore year. Yeah, the question was how long do you have to get the math done? If you're an engineering student, your plan needs to be get the math done as quickly as possible. Don't push that back. I mean, there's some things, if you're a part-time student, you can play a little game here. You can maybe alternate between semesters. If you're only taking, say, 9 hours a semester, you might not have to go through straight through your math, but that's what most engineers do. Most engineering students take math every semester, sometimes summers, so they can get done in a timely manner because you can't take engineering physics 1 until you're already enrolled in Calc 2. You can't take engineering physics 2 until you're enrolled in Calc 3. Right? And all the universities have similar requirements. You just can't, and engineering physics 1, that's required for statics, that's required for thermodynamics, right? So you've got this chain of prerequisites starting. Statics is required for dynamics, it's required for strength of materials. You've got to get started right away because it all branches from Calc 1. Yes?
If you are delayed with your math classes, when you come out of college, does that look bad on your resume if you're delayed in your classes?
The question.
Not just the classes, but if you're in school longer than anticipated, like 4 or 5 years, say you take even 6 years because you're taking so many classes, do they look down upon that when you go into the field?
So the question is, do the interviewers look down on you for taking longer? It really depends on the interviewer. If they take the time to get to know you and they see, hey, this student took 6 years, but boy, they were raising a family and holding down a job and participating in the local chapter of Professional Engineering Society or whatever. You know, they had these various activities. They had decent grades, maybe not perfect grades, but pretty good grades. They had all these different things going on. It's quite possible they'll be impressed by that. That's someone who can handle a life, right? Someone with perfect grades but nothing else on their resume, they're like an unknown. You know, they don't know if that student's or that person's really going to be able to perform year after year at a workplace. I had a question, what is ABET accreditation? We'll talk about that in the future, but basically certain university programs are ABET accredited. Technology programs are accredited differently than engineering programs. The ABET accredited schools are KU, K-State, Missouri S&T, Mizzou, UMKC Engineering. Those are the 5, and then if you go to St. Louis, there's a private school, Washington University. Those are the places you can get an ABET accredited engineering degree that leads to a professional engineering license. Now, you can get technology degrees that are ABET accredited in technology, but that's a different path. That's a technologist route which has value. It's just you can't become a professional engineer. And if someone asks if we are not in calculus, should we take a summer math class to catch up? And yes, take a summer math class to catch up, definitely. Yes, go ahead.
You said that you can, if you're enrolling in Math 110, you can actually enroll in Math 150? Or do you have to take 110 and then?
If you're currently in Math 110, the next semester you need to be taking Math 150. Of course, first you need to understand Math 110 as good as you can. You know, Math 110, sure, it's just algebra. Algebra is much more sophisticated than you might think. There is just a lot there. You cannot learn algebra in one semester. You can't learn algebra in 1 year. It takes a lot of practice to be good at algebra. So learn as much as you can when you're in your algebra classes. It'll make a world of difference in your calculus. So much of what makes you succeed in calculus is your algebra skills. That's really what it comes down to. And even in engineering, if you have solid algebra skills, the engineering classes, the physics classes are so much easier. If your algebra skills are weak, it really doesn't matter how much calculus you know. If your algebra skills are weak, you're going to struggle all the way through engineering classes. So Math 110 is a great course. It's got a lot of rigorous stuff in there. Get an A, get a super A if you can, right? Learn everything you can because you're going to need it in the future courses. There's nothing in Math 110 that's not used in calculus. All right? So just learn it all, get as good as you can at it. Don't worry, you're not going to be doing that all day as an engineer, but you've got to get through it. You've got to be good at it to do well. So yeah, if you're in Math 110 right now, take Math 150 next semester, take Math 180 in the summer, and then you're kind of back on track then. Question?
I'm in trig now, so it's trig calculus next.
Yeah, if you're in trig this semester, that's great. Learn as much as you can, especially the algebra parts of trig.
Algebra was still halfway decent of it. I tested into that, and that's trig is where I dropped out of high school. So.
Yeah, one problem I see with trigonometry is the students will get through the trig, but they really are able to struggle through it with weak algebra skills. And so the actual trig that you need in engineering and in calculus 2, you certainly need trig in algebra in engineering and in calculus, but you don't really need the most sophisticated parts of the trig. You need the fundamentals of trig. And so get those fundamentals of trig, but when you get to those proofs or whatever, what you really need to be thinking of is your algebra skills. Learn everything about algebra, review your algebra whenever you have a chance. Yeah, because algebra is that's the one place that really makes the difference. And It's something, algebra is something that needs to be really just built in to engineers.
Well, my
It's
basic
just,
the basic stuff I tested out first time, but then the college I fell down a little bit, and then the trig, not at all.
okay, well, this is a little off subject. What discipline do I have a degree in? I'm an aerospace engineer by degree. I have a master's and a PhD from UT Austin in aerospace engineering. But I'm not an aerospace engineer. I'm an engineering educator. Actually, my colleague, Mrs. Flum, she's got more engineering experience than I do. She just came from Cerner, and she also has an engineering management degree, a master's degree from Rolla, from S&T. And then. All right, so people that make it work, there's our names, and I want to just make it clear, I think I said this earlier, but there's a whole community of people at the Metropolitan Community College, people that really like the engineering program. Something we're really proud of. For instance, the people at the library and the tutoring center, they're really happy to have engineers helping out there. It's just great working with the engineering students. They have a professional plan. They work hard. I love, personally, to go see my engineering students at Rolla and UMKC. It's where I mostly see them, hear how things are going in their junior and senior year. And I've actually had the experience quite a bit lately of a total circle, which is students that sat in this room have come and talked to this room. And that's really fun, now that they're working engineers. And it's neat to see how well they're doing. So, but I'm not the only one that feels that way. These other employees at the Metropolitan Community College, they're just so proud when they get to meet one of our alums who's out working as an engineer now. Okay, Victor. All right, so the book, third edition, Landis. It's a good book. Please read it. That's the main thing. I want to stress about the attendance points. There are 10 points per day that you attend class. Sometimes the internet students are really put off by that. They say, well, how can I attend class? I'm an internet student. Well, we've got over 800 points available in this class, and you only need 460 for an A. So I hope that makes it clear that there's plenty of options for earning the A other than just coming to class. Coming to class is free points. I hope you'll do it. It's a chance to ask live questions. It's a chance to meet some of your fellow students. That's why I reward it with some points. That's why we reward it. But I don't want you to be alarmed if you're an internet student. Hopefully you signed up because you know that you're a decent writer. And if you're decent at writing, then it's easy to make up the points through the short reports and the discussion board. One thing I want to stress, though, is that you must do the research paper to earn an A. You must earn a passing grade in the research paper. Occasionally a student misses that fact. They'll have lots of points, but they'll just decide they don't have time for the research paper. The best you can do then is a B. Or if you turn in the research paper and it gets scored as an F, then the best you can earn in the class is a B. You can still earn a B, but without passing the research paper, but you can't earn an A. Okay, Victor. Kind of flash through these things a little bit. That website is a nice link to have. Some of you like to use the MCC portal, this single sign-in thing to take you there. But this bboard.mcckc.edu will take you straight to Blackboard. Someone texted me a second ago about what software should I use. Well, that's it. Blackboard is where everything happens. That's where you'll submit your work. We don't accept any hard copies in this class. Everything's electronic. The short reports, the discussion board, I call them bulletins here. Bulletins or discussion board, that's the same thing. You can watch the videos. This will be taped and it's going to be put onto the Blackboard site. We have a bunch of past semesters classes that are available for viewing. You got a lot of options. There's about 50, I counted it before this semester, there's 54 videos, way more than you're probably going to want to watch, of different engineers from Kansas City, mostly talking about their jobs. All right, so you got a lot of options of videos to watch. I hope you'll take advantage of that. I mean, it's live TV. We kind of run on a shoestring budget here. I love the way the people here take care of this place. It's an awesome resource that we have. But you know, it's not a network broadcast or whatever. Sorry, but I think the content is really good in many of these presentations. So I hope you watch those presentations, and then you can do short reports on them. We've tried to lay it all out in the Blackboard site. I'm not going to go through the Blackboard site today, but please, right away, before next week at least, get yourself onto that Blackboard site and post an introduction about yourself. Read through go through that Start Here section. There's a Start Here section. Work all the way through the steps that are there. We've tried to lay it out in a step-by-step process to make things clear. I'm not saying you have to do it step by step, but some people like that. It makes it more clear. If you want to jump around, that's fine, but the steps are there just so you don't miss anything. Yes?
So we have our first reports that's going to be due for next week.
Yeah, there's a short report due every week, but if you did, 1 week from now, there's a short report due. If you did a short report every week, that's more than you need, right? So you're not always going to turn in a short report probably, but you know, you might go ahead. In fact, I encourage you in the first week or two to submit at least one short report. That way you'll get some feedback, you'll know if you're doing it right. One thing I want to stress is that we don't accept attachments either. Attachments are a big pain for us. What we want you to do with the short reports, they're not real long. I call them short reports. Keep that in mind, right? It's not a big deal. Just do it, right? Get them done. Turn them in, right? You get into Microsoft Word, you type it, you run the spell and grammar check over it to make sure that it's good, because we won't give you points if it's got a bunch of spelling errors. All right. Spelling check, grammar check, then just select that text, paste it into the assignment box. It's called a comment box. When you go in to do the assignment, there's a comment box. Just paste your short report in there and hit submit, and we'll get it. If you're worried about whether we got it or not, you can see it in the gradebook. Anytime you go to the gradebook, not only will you see any work that you've submitted, and once we've graded it, you'll see the grades for that work. In addition, all the due dates are there. So the gradebook shows all the due dates. The gradebook also shows your grades on any work that you've submitted. If it's a green exclamation point, that means we haven't gotten to it yet. All right, so, but you can click on that green exclamation point and you can see what we see. All right, that way you'll know that we have it. And it looks like I've gone over time. I'm going to go through my text, make sure I didn't miss anything. And if maybe I'll post an answer to that on the discussion board. But next week we do have a guest engineer. So you local students, please be on time. We have a guest engineer who's a very successful engineer is coming next week to talk. I'm really glad to have her coming. And anyway, we'll see you next time. Thank you.